Hello and welcome to this very special interview. Joining me today is someone who has worked pretty much all his life in social upliftment, social causes, and has today emerged as one of the faster growing clean energy entrepreneurs. So, what an interesting journey that he has had. Balasaheb Darade, who is the founder and managing director at New Era Cleantech Solutions, a company which has started off with a very major project in coal gasification. But let's try and understand from him today what are his other aspirations in the very important clean energy space. Thank you very much, Bala Sahib. Wonderful talking to you. You've, as I mentioned, struck this a deal to produce a very, very major coal gasification project. But before that, I'd like to understand, you worked at the grassroots for a long time in your life, and what has prompted you to enter the clean energy space at this point?
Thank you very much, Vivek, for introducing, and I will be happy to interact more. And yeah, maybe we can start again.
Balasaheb, what has prompted you to enter into the clean energy space? You've been someone who's worked on multiple issues all your life, but we all understand, especially young India, I find understands far more the importance of clean energy. So what is it that prompted you to enter this space?
I would say the energy transition is the biggest opportunity after Second World War that we are seeing. We are going through a huge transition. And as I worked in social sector, I worked with government on policies and in my other entrepreneurial ventures. But I realized that to have a large scale impact, even the social impact, and this transition has to be a just transition as well. So our focus is sustainability, affordability, and availability. So the energy transition has to be just transition. And for India, it is very critical and very important. So we are working on in the space of clean energy and also chemicals and petrochemicals. So just to give a perspective, 40% of India's imports are in oil, natural gas, and petrochemicals. And the demand is growing. Like our per capita power consumption is much lower than the world average, much lower than the 1/10 of US, 1/5 of China. And with now our growing aspirations with GDP growth and that we are targeting, our energy consumption is increasing. So per capita energy consumption is increasing very fast. Our petrochemical consumption is increasing fast. It is going to be threefold by 2040. So with this, you are seeing that there is a huge, so we are very much largely dependent on everything, like you say, from daily life, right? From your cooking gas, transport, your petrochemical composes of most of the products daily that you use. And we are very much dependent on imports. So to be for this Atmanirbhar Bharat, to make a sustainable and self-dependent India, so coal gasification is very important. So our statement is without gasification, the Atmanirbhar Bharat is not possible. So that's what prompted me to come into the clean and sustainable and affordable and just transition space.
Balasaheb, can you tell us a little about coal gasification? I mean, we are all familiar with different kinds of energy sources, and of course, coal has been an integral part. But could you tell us a little bit more about how coal gasification works and how it can contribute to clean energy?
Yeah, sure. So I will just give a brief about what we are doing, what project, so that then follow. So we are working on a gasification of various feedstocks. So coal is one of that, but coal, bamboo, biomass, waste. So so we can gasify any of these things. So we are beginning with coal, but then we are slowly going to replace that with bamboo and biomass and the waste as it becomes it becomes more available. And we take this feedstock like a coal or biomass and convert that into a syngas. So rather than burning coal, which is polluting, we know that. So we should not use more coal in power plants because it is combustion process and it is creating a pollution. So here gasification is the only process where you can use coal in environmental friendly way. So we are converting coal under high temperature and pressure into a syngas, which is like a natural gas, which is a CO plus H2. So we are converting coal into a natural gas, and then natural gas can be used, converted into a various energy feedstock, chemical feedstock. So you can make ethanol, methanol, fertilizers. It can be feedstock for fertilizers, fuels, pharma APIs. So then whole set of energy as well as chemicals and petrochemicals products are then we can make that. So we are saying that we don't have enough of oil and natural gas. So the only natural resource that India has in abundance is a low quality coal. So how to convert this subbituminous coal into a natural gas? So that is our proposition. And natural syngas is a CO plus H2. So we can do a hydrogen as well. So much cheaper hydrogen we can do in terms of hydrogen transition. So our statement is coal is our oil. We don't have enough of, coal is our oil. That's what we got.
So, Balasaheb, the other thing we seem to have in abundance is waste. And is that an area, while of course some entrepreneurs have made, an effort there, but do you see that being another area where waste converted into fuel could be a very great way of, so there is collection of waste, but, converting it into usable clean energy, is that an area also you see yourself getting into?
Yes. So that is also like a kind of part of the ecosystem. So when I say gasification, so we can gasify coal, we can gasify biomass like bamboo. We are targeting bamboo and waste, municipal waste and other waste. So as a technology, once this technology is adopted and developed, so these are certain other areas. And other areas also, what we are working on is carbon, like carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS. So in terms of decarbonization, whole space of decarbonization, how you can take CO2 and convert that CO2 into some usable products. Like if you got a pure CO2, then it can be used in carbonated drinks, or you can make aggregates, you can make sustainable aviation fuels. So recently I was at UN General Assembly and New York Climate Week. So we met a lot of companies which are taking CO2, industrial CO2, and making into a sustainable aviation fuels and other things. So we are also tying up with a lot of such technologies to convert this CO2 to some useful products. So in terms of decarbonization, that is also very important as part of our Paris Agreement and as part of our COP. COP Panchamrit is our government of India's commitments, like 5-pronged approach. One is, of course, renewable power, but decarbonization is another big. So that's also our focus area. The beauty here in coal gasification, or the gasification process as such, like whether I gasify different feedstocks, if you in a power plant or steel plant or other plants, in the emission, the CO2 percentage in the whole emission is very less, 6%, 7%. So lot of money or lot of energy is required to capture that CO2. If CO2 you get in a pure form, 99% pure, then CO2 is a very useful chemical, like it can be utilized. But so that's where the challenge but is there. But in gasification, I get captured CO2 ready to utilize. So that's where the feasibility comes in, and that's our strategy to lead the whole space of decarbonization in more economical way. So because if you see, if with the renewable growth also, you, for a solar plants you need a steel, right? So the steel plants are going to grow where emission is going to happen. So if you see, if we convert all the electricity converted into renewable, then also the net emissions are increasing. So that's where we want to see this whole space, and in a holistic way, in sustainable way, and end to end, like right from getting sourcing the silicon to the all the raw material used in that, like so in that perspective. So in that perspective, we want to not only the energy space but petrochemicals. So we are targeting to make a clean blue refinery. So once you have a syngas, I can use it for energy as well as for petrochemicals. So that's our focus. So it has to be sustainable, just transition, and it has to be affordable and available. So that's the whole perspective. So we want to create a new direction for India's decarbonization. So, and that's where the technology like gasification is very useful, where you get captured CO2. So it becomes more easy to utilize that CO2 or or carbon sequestration of that CO2. And once we start developing that, then more and more ecosystem can be built around that.
Balasaheb, we keep reading numbers about the amount of investment that it will take for India to reach its goal as per, the parameters that you outlined. So far, it's the government and some entities, who are actually bearing that cost. Uh, so my first question is funding an issue, because one keeps reading that banks at least seem to be funding the debt component when it comes to clean energy. But is raising equity, for example, a challenge, or are people available to invest to, these are large projects. And how do you see I'm not talking about your specific project, but overall, where will these trillions of dollars, according to you, come from?
So it's a very good question and very much important, I think. So the understanding of the space, the project understanding. So sometimes you talk to the funding agencies and they say we have funding, but there are no projects, and then vice versa. The way there are projects and there is no funding. So this ecosystem needs more and more kind of understanding, holistic understanding about the space. Number one. Number two, of course, governments and the countries which have been emitting a lot, they have to come in. I mean, a lot of capital has to come from that perspective also. So that because there is a lot of opportunity in the countries which are taking lead, like India is taking good lead in decarbonization, but we have a huge population, so still we are. So in that way, there has to be kind of good international coalition in terms of government funding agencies and understanding the projects. But and then some few success, like it is the beginning of the phase, but once there are few good success stories, I think more and more it will be easier for this ecosystem to develop. But one
Balasaheb,
thing that it has to
yes.
be looked in a holistic way.
Balasaheb, you worked at grassroots level as well. When it comes to clean energy, one sees at least the younger generation, and the good thing is, almost half of India is young. They seem to be far more conscious about environment, clean energy than probably the previous generations were. While the government at the highest level, the Prime Minister has talked about its importance, other leaders, corporate leaders have talked about it, sustainable finance, ESG, SEBI has been leading the way on that. How do you feel this can become a grassroots movement where young people can contribute in a more meaningful way than just to express their view? They want to do more. How do you see that?
So first is taking responsibility. Once the it starts with the feeling of taking responsibility and ownership. Once that feeling is developed of up for this planet Earth and environment, then how to do is easy part. I mean, it is not, there are like, it is not a, I mean, everybody understand. So and that's where getting that belongingness and responsibility, developing that is very important. And I'm seeing that happening now. People are getting more and more aware, but the more awareness, more discussion, and sustainable living, that is the way to lead. And I think it is happening, but we need more and more leaders, young leaders and government leaders and everybody to talk more about this, and as a part of the whole sustainable development. And when we talk about this should be one of the component that has to be emphasized more.
So your first project, if I understand right, is a $2 billion project. What kind of a roadmap have you set for yourself for the next, say, 2 or 3 years? How much, how many projects do you plan to put up? What is the kind of investment outlay that you've made?
So right now, I mean, we signed the MOU we announced this project in World Economic Forum Davos this year earlier with the government of Maharashtra, and then this project was approved by Maharashtra cabinet. Maharashtra government gave us some incentives, and we are in the final stages of getting our environmental clearance. So we have State Bank of India, SBI Caps is our partner for financial closure and debt and equity. So they are helping us on that end. But first phase of the project, so it will be phase wise. So it will be the one project at one location, but in different phases. So first phase of the project will be about 2 million metric ton of gasification of the coal. So that will be the first phase of project. So we intend to have the financial closure in next couple of months. And also we are awaiting Government of India have announced 6,000 crores incentives for coal gasification. So it is at cabinet and we're expecting that to be announced anytime soon. So that will be also, we are looking at what kind of incentives in terms of capital subsidy or equipment. So we are looking at that also to structure the first phase of the project.
And what next after that? Knowing you, I don't think you'll stop there.
So of course, I mean, there are another proposal that we have is on a SEZ on a decarbonization. So what we are working on is a innovation park on decarbonization, gasification, hydrogen. So we have we have been allocated 1,650 acres of land near Nagpur. So we don't need that much, but so part of the portion of the land we are proposing to start and we are in discussion with Niti Aayog, and they like the idea. So they are going to propose it to government also. So anybody in this ecosystem who wants to work, so we want to invite those players and create this as a decarbonization clean tech zone. So where all the input, offtake, transport policies, so that support is there. And we want to work a lot on carbon capture, utilization, storage, because that is going to be required for hard to abate sectors and to meet our decarbonization goals. So that is one side. Other is more working on a biomass like a bamboo gasification or waste gasification, as you so those are our next projects. But we have proposals from other locations as well in India, also from 2 other states. So our first project is in Maharashtra, but we have got proposals from 2 other states for next projects. But right now, to be very candid, we are right now very focused on this project to happen. And right now, 100% focus is to make the gasification commercial reality in India. And we want more and more other players to come. So because the Prime Minister's mission is the National Coal Gasification Mission is to gasify 100 million metric ton coal by 2030. So our project is phase 1 2 million, phase 2 5 million, but we require many more players to come. And to replace all the oil and natural gas, we have a potential to gasify about 1,500 million metric ton of coal. Yeah, so there is a huge opportunity. So we want to make coal gasification commercial success in India, so that we become Atmanirbhar. And we have seen how China done, like 30-40 years back. China started the gasification, and most of their the 95% of their fertilizers they make from coal. 90% of methanol they make from coal. India imports 90% of methanol. And you are aware that we give a lot of fertilizer subsidy, right? There is a lot of subsidy in fertilizers. So what China have done, so we need to kind of do that and surpass that. And so that's our mission. So we are aligned with the national mission. This project is to make how we can make India self-sufficient in energy, petrochemicals. That's our clear focus and goal.
Absolutely wonderful speaking to you, Balasaheb. Thank you very much for taking time out, and I wish you all the best in this mission of yours. Clean energy is something this nation needs, and I'm glad to see people like you who have so much of grassroots experience, taking this up as a mission. Thank you very much for taking time out.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.